Morning, everybody. Hey, just wanted to sit down with you for a couple minutes and talk through some of the things that we discussed at our last staff meeting. Um, the one being definitely support before paperwork, which I've really been looking into and trying to put together some good resources and materials for you. And then also taking care of the paperwork side, even though it's not obviously the first priority, but we're definitely uh, programmed that way. So I'll address that also. But this first part, I'd like to talk to you about the support that we're going to provide during this emergency time, and some ways that we've always approached planning and have always approached systematically planning, and we can use those same procedures and methods now now as we're going through. So this part that I'm showing you on the screen is the support before paperwork. And looking at this through the supplementary aids and services considerations method, just because it's something we're used to. You guys know I'm a big fan, and it's something that I like to always use, and always have this mindset of using this process. Just because it keeps planning a little bit more focused, and prioritizes what the major issues are, and also playing to the strengths and interests of the student. So I have a chart here that talks about the areas of planning whenever we use the considerations process. Then in the middle here, we talk about what happened the week of the 9th and the 13th when we were still physically in schools and in both tech programs. And this was prior to that emergency declaration. And then we talk about post Friday the 13th, what we've discovered after we started making the transition to remote education, and navigating our way through presently. We are writing this right now. I mean, we're at the we're at a really interesting time where we're designing these type of supports. So the first part that we always look at, and um, this is something we do for present levels. We talk about the student. We talk about their interests, their strengths, the types of needs that they have, learning, socio-behavioral, emotional, physical, all those types of needs that they may have. And these were the needs and strengths within our usual system, and our usual style of instruction and support. And what have we found out about our students since this time? Since we've taken the classroom, the physical classroom, out of the mix, and how we've seen some students respond, and how we've seen some students not respond consistently. But that's definitely something we expected. So after we would take a look at that student, we would take a look at where they were functioning within. We looked at the type of school environment. We looked at the type of classrooms, what kinds of things were occurring on the bus for this kid. So all the aspects and physical parts and environmental parts of that student's day, those something that we would look into and plan for. And of course now in the third column over here, there's a lot of quite a few differences that we're looking into now. We don't have that bus. We don't have those environmental and classroom and direct peer related types of variables at work. So we're discovering some new things in this remote era. Um, in the last part, it's a little bit hard to see, but these are the instructional and the support profiles. What kinds of things that we did to make sure that instruction was accessible to students, that we were able to bring supports to students, um, even the challenges of bringing supports in a busy academic schedule, or to um, schedules, things like that. And now once again in our third column, the types of characteristics we have now of how we could provide supports without the students physically being in front of us. Those challenges, and all of these things that we're talking about in the right side here, these are all things that are going to give us information for that plan of support. Now, once again, the plan of support is for us. The plan of support is not part of an IEP document. It is, we're designing and we're keeping track of present levels, but we are not. This is not part of the current IEP, and we've discussed reasons for that, because there are so many things out of our control at this point, that this is not a purposeful continuum. This is something that we are ordered. Um, there's a lot of conditions that are ordered for us right now. So following this initial review of the needs and strengths of a student, what the environmental and classroom types of characteristics or variables, and how we're going to get supports to them and interventions. This is all going to come together for us and help us develop that plan of support. And if you guys remember, you hear me talking constantly about trying to focus our areas of support, and the people that created, or the body of work that created the supplementary aids and services considerations. Those areas are a great place to start. So as I scroll down here into the second page, I'm carefully watching my time because there's a time limit on this. But we're talking the categories of collaboration, collaborative category. We're talking about instructional category. We're talking about social behavioral category, and then the physical and then environmental category. So I tried to list, I didn't try, I listed some considerations that we are looking at currently, some things that we may not have considered prior to a few weeks ago. And these are why I thought it was important to start putting these together and collecting them. These are the types of um, interventions and the types of things that we're thinking about for that plan of support. So if we're able to, create that menu, and I know that, we're not big, cut and paste people into things, but at the same time, if we're stressing, we're suppressing, we're it's live, right? Um, but if we're stressing supports and making sure our kids are okay, um, these type of things are important, and these are the types of things that we're going to do and make sure that we're doing first. And then however we have to document them in the future, say in the fall of 2020, we'll worry about that then. But we want to make sure that we have that information that we need. This is the only thing that's being provided at this time. So as they rewrite the rules and regulations and work all those things out, we're going to have the information we need to continue. So I did put some ideas over here next to each category, what kinds of things we could do to collaborate with other teachers, collaborating with the parents and grandmas and family members who are now the primary facilitators to a lot of the remote things that we have in place, and helping out with the technology, with the software, with the resources, all those type of things, providing that encouragement. What we're using, the paraeducators are supporting us with. So all of these areas here are, it's a collection of those type of supports that have been talked about here, that have been talked about statewide, nationally, just trying to put them all together into something that we can add to, and you guys can also put your own special spin on that. So instructional, like I said, I put a link to one of the articles that I sent you, the ones that I really appreciate their focus. You could tell that they've been written by practitioners, and not the theory pedagogical. I'm gonna just quit saying big words, right? Too early. Um, but it's definitely a practical type of resource over here. So going down into social behavioral, this could be emotional also, but there's some things going on and some stressors that that kids are meeting for the first time. And then on the flip side of it, there are students who seem to be, I don't want to say flourishing, but actually benefiting from um, this, the little looser schedule and the expectations. They could sleep in. So there's some positive aspects that we're going to be able to take forward with this experience. And what types of things, when we have an environment that's so out of our control, the types of things that we're doing to help the parents and family members and help the students, and as far as getting resources and information and all the planning and support that's required. So I'm going to forward this to you, and please take a look at it. And this is something that I'd like to refer to whenever we talk, as far as what we're going to do to support first, and how we're going to focus in those supports during this transition and during the transition yet to come. So we are continuing to do our best. I have about 9 seconds left, so I will talk to you soon in the next video.